Graham Platner still has not dropped out of the Maine Senate race, even though another accusation was published yesterday. Instead, he is reportedly demanding concessions from the party, treating the Senate race like an abusive relationship, I see. In today's other top headlines, Iran attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and the United States retaliated, so the war is back to warring. Donald Trump is in Turkey for the NATO summit, back to begging for Greenland, bashing NATO, like insulting someone in their own home, and falling asleep in meetings with world leaders. Also, Donald announced yet another renovation at the White House. We have these stories and more to get into. I'm Sammy Sage, and this is the Morning Announcements, your 10-minute rundown of current events and the best way to always know what the is going on. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. When we last checked in, Graham Platner was, quote, assessing the best path forward. A day later, a second ex-girlfriend has come forward alleging assault, and Bernie Sanders, whose blessing basically built this campaign, has told him to step aside. What is Bernie's batting average on disaster endorsements now? The Washington Post reported that an ex-girlfriend of Platner's, who he dated from 2013 to 2015, claimed that he removed condoms during sex without her consent, saying, quote, he would pull condoms off. He would do it in a sneaky way. He wouldn't tell me. Which, by the way, is against the law and is actually classified as sexual assault in several countries.
Yes, I know there were times when he was blackout drunk that he would say, oh, I don't remember that, but then days later, he would come back and details would slip out and he'd say, well, that was before or something, and I'd catch him in a lie, and it would be like, wait, so you do remember, you weren't blackout drunk.
Platner's campaign called the allegations categorically false and politically motivated, and mentioned that this ex-girlfriend was a Republican operative and that she supported Brett Kavanaugh during his confirmation, even after he was accused of sexual assault. That is some Class A deflection. After a longer delay than most, Bernie finally withdrew his endorsement and called for Platner to drop out. This could be the last straw since he's already canceled and pulled down ads. But the thing is that Platner's response to all of this is, incredibly, to reportedly start negotiating about what he wants in exchange for leaving. In other words, if they want him to officially drop before the deadline, which is July 13th, he wants some say in his replacement. And he wants them to be someone from the same political realm as Platner, i.e. Bernie approved, because his track record of people like Tulsi Gabbard, John Fetterman, and Tom Steyer has been so stellar. But then you have the executive director of Maine's Democratic Party saying this.
The Maine Democratic Party has been working around the clock to develop a process to replace our U.S. Senate nominee that is open, inclusive, transparent, and fair. Unfortunately, Graham Platner's team has repeatedly reached out to us in an attempt to put their thumb on the scale of what this process looks like. We have repeatedly reiterated to Graham Platner's team that they have no role in determining our next Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate, nor in determining what this process looks like.
Overall, I'm not getting a big consent guy. What an asshole. Donald Trump is at the NATO summit in Turkey this week, and it is a rich text. He's mad at Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni again.
We had a bad relationship. It became a little bad because she refused to help us. Again, I didn't put a heavy press on her, but she refused to get involved with the Hormuz Strait, or you could also say just Iran. She refused to get involved. So it soured my relationship with her a little bit. But I like her. I think she's a nice person, actually. But I think she made a mistake. She just wasn't there for us, and I wasn't happy about that.
He wants to take over Greenland again.
Greenland doesn't help Denmark. Denmark doesn't spend money to really help Greenland, but it's an important part for the United States. And it's surrounded by China ships and Russian ships. And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It was Greenland that, and it continues to be, that should be controlled by the United States, not by Denmark.
He was cagey about Ukraine, as usual.
Russia, Ukraine. Did Putin seem open to any concessions that he
Never changed. I just don't want him killing people. You know, it doesn't affect the United States. We have an ocean in between. But, you know, it's just, I can't stand watching what's happening. I've seen the pictures of those battlefields. They send me pictures. I actually want to say, don't send them to me. Pete, this man right here sends me pictures. Pete Hegseth. And I said, Pete, you know what? It doesn't help to look. I've never seen anything like it. It's carnage. And it should stop.
And at one point, he appeared to fall asleep and needed Erdogan to physically steer him around the room and the tarmac.
Landing at the airport, to see such a beautiful airport, and to have a building named after me. I was very happy about that. That was very nice. The airport is absolutely beautiful. The roads coming in were brand new and beautiful.
That is the leader of the free world, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe not anymore. One interesting and potentially consequential development is that during his meeting with Erdogan, Trump seemed willing to sell Turkey the F-35 fighter jets that Benjamin Netanyahu specifically asked him not to sell them, given Israel's fears that it would tilt the regional balance of power by reducing Israel's military edge. Cue Bibi calling Donald. Speaking of geopolitical follies with Benjamin Netanyahu, remember the war that Trump declared over and then took a victory lap for at the Palace of Versailles? It's back. Just like World War II followed World War I. Iran attacked 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz in the last 24 hours, and the U.S. responded with what it called, quote, a series of powerful strikes. A series of unfortunate events is more like it. All part of the peace plan, of course. And now that the memorandum of understanding that they signed looks like nothing more than a crumpled up piece of paper lying here, the Trump administration has also revoked the temporary sanctions waivers that allowed Iran to sell oil on the open market in U.S. dollars. Though I'm sure they've already well made up for that potential revenue loss with the new toll system on the strait. Cha-ching!
For 50 years, we've been landing helicopters on grass. The grass is wet, soggy. The helicopters sometimes miss their little mark. You know, they send people out, Marines. I watch them do it. They march out so beautiful, great guys. They have a piece of metal that he put down. And except for the fact that these pilots are so good, they almost hit the mark all the time. But sometimes they miss. They're half the size of this desk. Think of it, you're landing a big chopper.
The world is on fire, and the top priority of the President of the United States is being the decorator-in-chief. And a terrible one. Trump announced that he's building a granite helipad on the White House lawn, where everyone can see it, which he says is necessary to accommodate the powerful presidential helicopters of today's day and age. He specifically means Sikorsky helicopters, which are the type of helicopters that have been used as Marine One since 2024, when Biden flew one for the first time, to the DNC in Chicago, incidentally. That's some useless trivia for you. Sikorsky is a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin, and Trump says that the company is going to be paying for the helipad construction, which is already underway on the White House lawn. And no, they don't have a timeline for when they expect it to be completed. Donald likes living on a construction site, doesn't he? Until tomorrow, I'm Sammy Sage, and now you know what the is going on. This is the morning announcements. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you get every episode right when it comes out.